Awesome. Well, hey, I'm excited to learn more about my interview today. It would be interesting just to start off before we get into a demo, why you're excited about working on this, like why you guys kind of, or how you guys, I guess, differentiate relative to the rest of the video interview software out there.
Yeah, great. First of all, I love doing this every day. I love this space, HR tech, and specifically video interviewing. It's just kind of bringing us into modernity. I mean, CVs are, they haven't changed in over 100 years. You may as well type that CV up on your grandfather's typewriter, and if retro's the way to go, it'll look just as good. But you may as well do it right because we haven't progressed a lot past that. And one of the things that was always frustrating for me personally was that when I was searching for jobs as a candidate, especially earlier in my career, it's very difficult to differentiate yourself. It's very difficult to bring the who you are into the game, when everything's so, text heavy and so dependent on either your education or maybe some hard skills, but primarily experience. And the soft skills don't come into play there. So I think video interviewing is really cool because we're able to bring people into the game and sort of have you kind of jump off that page.
Yeah.
And building technology is also really cool too because we're constantly coming up with new innovative things to do. I'll show you some of the stuff that we've done. And it's fun because we get to see the smile on people's faces in the videos when they get to use it. So that's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, it's awesome. You're allowing candidates to kind of present themselves beyond just their resume. You're allowing recruiters to get the best people and then to also sort of sell them either internally to hiring managers or if they're working with clients to their clients in a way that's just beyond sort of your traditional CV.
Yeah, absolutely. And ultimately, it's important not to lose sight of candidates, especially since today, most of the people that we meet, whether it's in-house recruiting teams or whether it's with agencies, say that candidate experience is one of the most important things to them and one of the big determining factors
Mhm.
in getting candidates, especially in more competitive job markets. And it's really important not to lose sight of that, although in the end, our clients, our companies, really the candidates, that's where we got our start. And that's really where our passion lies, is making sure that the candidates have a fantastic experience and have the opportunity to express themselves and really just kind of have fun with this process too.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, it'd be cool to jump into just a quick demo, like see some of the high level functionality of the product and maybe understand from like the candidate experience perspective and the recruiter experience perspective, like why this is such a great platform.
Yeah, sure. So let me share my screen. And we'll start off here. This is the candidate experience. This is a real job with a real client. And thanks to the head of recruitment over there, Taz, who allowed us to to piggyback on their interview. So P&O is kind of a household name in the UK. They're a ferry company. They're the ferry company, really. And this is like their branded landing page. So off of either in this case probably an email. So this would be like the second step in the process. Somebody applies the typical way, and then candidates who pass the first CV screen will get a nice email saying, congratulations, you've passed on to the next step in the process. Please follow this link and submit a video interview.
Nice.
And yeah, here Taz has done a great job of putting together a video. A lot of companies do this. The first 30 seconds or so are employer branding primarily, talking about the company. And then from the 30-second mark, we get into talking about the video interview itself and giving the candidates a bit of an idea of what they're expected to do, how long it's going to be, lighting, different devices. Of course, it's available without any kind of app download or anything like that. It just works on any device. But it's good to be prepared in order to ace that video interview. And then really, this is where he really hits the nail on the head, right? It's about being spontaneous and having fun, being honest, because at the end, this is a way to get to know the candidates a bit better. So the next thing the candidates need to do is just put in their name and email so that it synchronizes back with the system afterwards.
And are they using this
Terms.
for roles that are like operating the ferries in addition to corporate, or one versus the
Yes.
other?
Yeah, so these are, this one's like for a seasonal onboard crew type role.
Okay.
So it tends to also be early careers, even students on their breaks. So customer facing, right? But where the resume, like the kind of things you'd write on a CV are, very difficult to discern from that who's gonna be a really good public face for the company.
Gotcha.
So candidates come on here, they agree to the terms. Our system tests and makes sure that the internet's working correctly, that your camera and your sound are working correctly, and that's so that there's no technical hiccups afterwards that prevent the video from being successful. If there's anything that's not working correctly, we'll want to know right off the bat. And then we are in the interview experience. This one's very simple. There's 4 questions. Each has 45 seconds to answer. The question appears up here as text. And as soon as you're ready, you can hit start record. And now we're going to give the best example of customer service that I've ever seen. I don't have to use up the whole 45 seconds, so I'll stop that. And here's the really cool part is on question retakes. So now I can watch that video, and yeah, I probably could have done better than that, right? So we'll give it another go. And now I'm getting the best example of customer service that I've ever seen. And we can watch both of those, but right, I can select whichever one I want. Sometimes the initial one might be more spontaneous, a bit more natural. Sometimes it'll take me a few tries. Of course, the recruiter can control this entire experience, how many retakes there are, what the questions are, how many questions, how long you have to answer. And then when I select the one I want, I click next and I'm on to the next question. So it's really smooth, it's really light, it's easy to use, quite straightforward, and sort of streamlines all of the potential technical things you might encounter. So where does the video go? Back onto the dashboard. And this is a sample job I've got up here.
So this is from the recruiter's perspective.
Exactly. This is what the recruiter is going to see. So all the candidates are going to come into your left side column here, and you can drag them through the process like this. So very kind of simple, intuitive, like a Trello board or something like that. Really easy. And then for each candidate, of course, we have the candidate card as well. So we can pop open and watch the video. This guy looks nice. Let's see what he has to say. So the question's up here. Questions up here. And then this is the answer. If I want to.
The like percentage next to the folks' names, that's sort of like you guys are looking at the transcript and trying to figure out like what percent match are they for this role.
Oh man, you're giving it all away too soon. Hold on, we're not there yet. But yeah, we're doing some pretty advanced stuff too. But you're absolutely right about the transcript. So I can just tap over here and pull the transcript for the video. And you see what's cool here with the arrows is that the videos, right, it's a sequence of short videos and they're kind of linked together in a very efficient, easy to use way. So I have the transcript. The transcript's copy pastable. So I can grab that, drop it into the comments if I think that it's relevant. So I can grab excerpts. I can put this back into my ATS. However I want to do it, comments will accumulate here. And then if I want to, I can actually share shortlisted candidates. So I can grab a whole stack here or just one at a time. And then we'll create a link to share these specific ones. I'll grab that short link and drop it in here. And this is if I want to share to somebody outside of my small team. So, right, of course, I have to identify and accept the T's and C's. In order to have access, it's one of these gibberish links. So if I accidentally sent it to the wrong person, I can quickly expire it. So I have full control over who has access. And then I can say here, thumbs up, thumbs down. So yeah, I do want to move them to the next step, or I would like to interview them in person, and even write a comment. All right. So this is really good also if you're sharing, if you're a recruiter and you're sharing with a hiring manager and you just want to sort of give a short list. This is a really nice way to do it. Of course, it's all kind of easy to use and branded. When I go back into the dashboard here, now we're going to see another column pop up there. So comments would be internal feedback from within the team. And then feedback's going to be from those external reviewers, and they're completely separated. So I wouldn't taint anyone else's opinions or release anything outside that I shouldn't. And then clearly see who's been an external reviewer here. And of course, I can give a star rating per candidate, etc. So that's kind of like the basic usage. If you use an ATS, then this would be basically you'd have the same functionality that we have here in your ATS, in which case what you'd get from within the ATS is just this candidate card. And we do integrate with a number of different ATSs. So it's quite seamless out of the box. Doesn't require any specific resources or time in order to set up. So if you're using Greenhouse, for example, you just kind of drop the connector in with the key, and this would appear from within the candidate's card in Greenhouse, for example. And here's where we get into the cool stuff, what you were alluding to, that percentage score. But before that, let me ask you, from your experience, when you talk to people in recruiting, in what order typically do people go through the candidates? Like, what do they sort them by?
I mean, it's usually whoever was the last person to apply or the first person to apply.
And that's amazing, right? Because ultimately it's randomized. So one of the things that we set out to do is, look, if you have 100 videos instead of, say, 100 phone calls, right, you're definitely in better shape, because video is a better medium. It's a better way to get a feel for a person. It's much richer. And it's faster because it's asynchronous. So because you and I don't have to be available at the same second for that phone call, it's going to be a lot, right? It's going to be a lot more efficient time-wise. And it also helps you collaborate, right? Because here we can share. And some companies, by the way, as a matter of course, always have more than one person review the video, the video that was submitted, in an effort to sort of make sure that we're advancing people that we all agree should be advanced. But still, you have this problem where if the perfect candidate is number 89 out of 100, let's say, right? By the time you get to them, if you ever get to them, right, you're done. Like, it's still a lot of videos to watch. And volume is probably the number one pain that we experience when it comes to talent acquisition. So we set out to help solve that. And there's two ways that we can do it. This is a suite of features that we call myInterview Intelligence. And there's two features here that I want to show you, Phil. The first one is called Phrase ID. That's this word cloud up here. And with Phrase ID, what we're doing is we're shortening the haystack. So it helps you, right, gives you a better shot at finding that needle if the haystack's a bit short. And how do we do that? Typically, when most people ask interview questions, there's kind of like a general answer, more or less, or a kind of an area of answer that we're looking to find. Now, what we do is we aggregate all the stuff that everybody said across all of the interviews for that particular role and float what seems meaningful up to the top. Our algorithm knows how to pull out things that were either repetitive or more stressed. So research or management style, right? These would be things that we would be looking for, let's say, in the answer. And now I've sorted, so I have less candidates here, and I can actually go in and see within this candidate, I might pick out a few extra ones that seem relevant. Now I want you to view the video. The goal here is not to skip viewing the video, but when we do view the video, our system is going to give us these little indicators here about where it is within the video that all of these specific phrases were said. And that's going to help us narrow down the list a little bit. Now, the other thing that we have, and I'll undo these for a second so we get the full list back. The other thing that we have here is that score that you were mentioning, and that's a feature we call role fit. So with role fit, what we're doing is we're actually doing a personality analysis on every candidate video that comes through. And to do that, we're using the Big Five. If you're familiar with the Big Five, it's kind of the gold standard in the industry as far as behavioral psychology or industrial organizational psychology. And that helps us get a sense of the person's personality, more creative, more spontaneous, more friendly, or competitive. And when we set up a job, we didn't go through the specifics here of setting up a job, but when we set up a job, in addition to the questions, which you can customize, and dropping in that video like we saw, in addition to that, there's a role fit questionnaire that asks you a few questions about who's the ideal profile for this job. And while most of us are not psychologists or professionals who really are qualified to delve into each individual, right? What we have here is a correlation score. So how closely does each candidate match the score or the profile that we built on the way in? We do have some templates, of course. So if you're looking like for a salesperson, we have some templates that say what a typical salesperson would be like. And now instead of sorting, right, just in the order in which they were received, we're able to sort them according to the correlation of the personality score. And you see we get a very different result here, even in this sample job. And that's really cool because now we have something that's a little bit more objective. The computer is really much more capable of measuring everyone the same. And it does so, very, very quickly as well. And now we have another way to go through the stack that's unrandomized.
I know, which is amazing, right? Because especially as you point out, like you get 100 applicants, like what if number 89 is the best person? What are the pitfalls to using AI or machine learning to help prioritize people? Because if memory serves, one of your competitors sort of got in trouble for this not too long ago. AI to basically analyze the video and the transcripts to create shortlists.
Yeah, I mean, that's really important to talk about. And you are right. I think, first of all, the key here is that we are very careful not to make any determinant decisions. So this is not a robot telling you, you need to hire Andre, right? But what we're doing here is automated shortlisting. And we're using different methods in order to either shorten or reorder the stack. And that increases your chances of finding the right match faster. And helps you negotiate the volume of roles that come through. We want you to watch the videos. I mean, ultimately, watching these videos is what's going to give you the best sense of the person. And, right, I mean, recruiters and talent acquisition professionals, at the end of the day, we're people. So we pride ourselves on understanding how people are going to fit and knowing our teams and our companies the best. But in order to cope with just the volume of it, right, it's hard to watch all those videos. And so we want to help with that main issue that we all face. And we've built these algorithms in a way that's that's as unbiased and as fair as possible. We're constantly evaluating and reevaluating them. We have a huge data set. We have over 400,000 videos that have come through our system, and utilizing those in order to tag the videos, review them with behavioral psychologists, and then create the machine learning algorithm that knows how to create the score is very important. And we do things in a very different way than some other companies have developed. And we're very careful not to sort of fall into the same traps that they have. For instance, we're not looking at facial recognition. Although from a technological standpoint, there's a lot of advantages for that. There are also a lot of pitfalls. And that technology for this purpose is a bit more tenuous. So we're looking at primarily the content, the speech to text, and also the tonality. And we've developed our own proprietary algorithms that analyze that. And interestingly, when we compared this with a personality profile test with a company in South Africa, we found that there was an extremely high correlation between the results that we were able to achieve from the videos for the personality score versus what a test would yield. Difference being, of course, that the test is asking, very specific test questions that have nothing to do with the role or the company whatsoever. And here with the videos, at the end of the day, the candidate's speaking about something that's relevant, right? Like this is a specific interview for this specific job at this specific company. And so when you watch the videos, they'll also be interesting for you. And when the candidate recorded them, they were thinking about the company and they were engaged in the process. So it's a huge difference there, and still we can get these incredible results.
Awesome. Sorry, I sort of took you out of your demo flow. What are there any other sort of like core features you showed us, from the candidate's perspective, from the recruiter's perspective, some of the sort of like killer kind of AI that you guys are building behind the scenes? And anything else that folks should know before they go and get a full demo or just start using the product?
Yeah, we're constantly developing more things. So we are releasing this week a live video interview component as well. So if we tend to think of hiring as a funnel. So if the very top of the funnel is going to be your attraction and bringing those candidates in, the next step is going to be screening. So screening with a one-way video interview, we talked a lot about already. Assessments, a little bit also, because when we talk about the personality profile, if you do have an assessment component, we're definitely providing some of that as well. And then the next step often is to have an in-person interview or a live video call, especially these days as the prevalence of video goes up and up. Teams are distributed, people are working remote, working from home. It's becoming increasingly popular to do that. And so we've added that component in so that you could have a live video call. And how is that going to be different than a Zoom call? Well, it's kind of the same thing as with the one-way video. If I just said to you, hey Phil, can you just do a quick selfie video on your iPhone and shoot that over to me, right? Then you start asking me all those questions, like, hold on, wait a second. So wait, it's 3 questions. Do you want one video for all 3 questions, or do you want like little short videos, like multiple short video? And then how do I send them? And like, if I send them like in a G Drive or like a Dropbox, then who has access to them? And then as the recruiter, like, how do I view them? And then where do I save them? And I'm running out of server space. And what about the emails? And it starts to get very complicated. There's too much friction in this process. It's not documented. It's not organized, right? So we set out to solve all those problems, and our platform kind of makes this whole thing not just without friction. We deal with all the headaches from storage to access and all that stuff, right? But also the experience itself is branded and looks professional, and it puts a really good perspective from the company. The company looks really good, like very modern and tech forward. And it's kind of the same thing with the live video interviewing as well. Our clients came to us and said, we want to do live video interviewing now, but where do we store it and how do we do it? Could we just use your mechanism and also add that? And so we built it for them. And you get all the benefits of having this platform for 3 different segments within the hiring funnel.
That's great. Well, hey, I really appreciate the time to sort of do a quick walkthrough. I know you guys have a lot more in the platform, but it's awesome just to encapsulate like sort of the core workflows, some of the killer features to give folks a good sense for whether or not it's a good fit for them. I guess if people are interested, they should just go to myInterview and ask for a demo.
Yeah, and we're happy to do that. We also really believe that anybody should be able to try this out for themselves. Mm-hmm. So we start off with a free version. It's limited. You can't use it. You can't use it for all of your hiring needs. But it's a completely free platform to use to get started. So if you do want to just come in, poke around, check it out, you're more than welcome to do that as well. And you don't even need to talk to any of us. Of course, we'll be happy to chat to you right there on our website, or you can get in touch and we'll be happy to provide a full demo as well. But if you're looking to start small, or if you're not sure and you just kind of want to give it a test drive before you ask us for that full demo, anyone's more than welcome.
That's awesome. Yeah, so people don't even have to go through the whole rigmarole of getting a demo, scheduling it, and all that stuff. They can just literally 5 minutes from now get started.
And I promise within an hour, be already receiving candidate videos. I mean, it's extremely easy to use and extremely straightforward.
That's great.
So you could totally set yourself up and set up the job, send out the request, the email templates are there waiting for you. Drop your brand in, and you're good to go.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks again for the time, and we'll catch up in another couple months to see what's new.
Awesome. Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Phil. We love your site.